Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Howard Lippo, and I am an integrative nutrition health coach, and I specialize in perimenopause and menopausal health. So, today I'm going to build on what we talked about last week, which was weight loss. So, this is weight loss part two. And I wanted to build on that and talk about long term versus short term and kind of moving on from there. So, if we're always thinking about the short term, that's always the quick fixes. So, almost anything will work in the short term. But once you've achieved your goal, if you haven't made any really solid changes for the long term that you intend to kind of keep moving forward, whatever progress you went through in that short term is always probably going to come back. And then you're going to find yourself always on a diet, always seeking to get those same short term results. And it's hard sometimes with perimenopause and menopause because our bodies are changing. And what may have worked for us in our 20s and 30s doesn't typically translate to what will work for us in our 40s and beyond. We have to do things a little bit differently. So, thinking short term versus long term. So, I like to think of long term as in or moving towards that with small sustainable steps. Because when we make small sustainable steps over time, it's easy to stick with. It just becomes a part of who we are. It's like our new identity. And then we're not going back into this stressful cycle of looking for all these quick fixes. So I had mentioned in the last video, one of the first things that I made a change for as I was going through my journey was reducing or cutting caffeine. And so once I had done that, then I went on to the next thing. And then I went on to the next thing and the next thing. It's really, really hard at this time in our lives when we're already stressed. We're stressed about the changes in our body. We tend to be at the peak of our career, so that could have stress. Some of us are still having babies. Some of us still have kids at home. Some of us are empty nesters or trying to figure out kind of next steps. So it's already stressful. Maybe some of us are taking care of parents too. So it's already a stressful time. And so we really want to focus on those small sustainable steps so we don't get overwhelmed and frustrated and quit. So change one thing at a time. One of the easiest things you can do, honestly, to start is reading your labels. When you go into the grocery store and you're picking something up, read the labels, look on the back of it. So one of the things we want to do is reduce sugar. So by reading labels, for example, I love marinara sauce. I am not going to give up marinara sauce. Sometimes I make it, but most of the time I do not. So I was a huge fan of Prego. Prego has added sugar in it. I was able to swap that out for Rouse. I think I'm saying that the right way. Raos, Rouse, which has no added sugar in it and no funny preservatives or anything like that. So just making that simple swap meant I got to keep marinara sauce. I just now am using a better marinara sauce and I reduced sugar that way. So you want to read your labels, look for added sugar, look for a lot of extra preservatives, and see what you can find as an easy swap. Ketchup is another one that has added sugar in it. So what we did is we used to be regular Heinz people, and then we dropped to no artificial sweeteners, Heinz, and now we're not even on Heinz. We're on Primal Kitchen that has no added sugar, and it tastes great. My husband can't tell the difference, and it works well. So that was another way to keep something that we liked. We just swapped it out for a better version of that. So just read your labels. It's really important, really easy. Excuse me. And it doesn't cost a whole lot of extra. Okay, so there's that. And then make sure when you're going through this that you're covering all the bases. So you don't want this to just be around food or nutrition. We want the anti-inflammatory nutrition lifestyle. Well, what does that mean? So yes, that means, food, we're going to reduce sugar, those kinds of things. But we also want to incorporate movement. We want movement that we like and enjoy, because if we don't like it and don't enjoy it, you're not going to stick with it in the long term. So again, we're thinking about long term, not short term. So find movement that you enjoy that you'll stick with. Stress reduction is a huge one. you can have the best nutrition in the world, but if you're not getting a handle on your stress, you're always going to have problems. So maybe that's breath work. Maybe that's, again, just reducing sugar. Reducing sugar actually helps the adrenal system quite a bit and the nervous system as well. So just kind of make those changes, kind of think along those lines. Prioritizing your sleep is a big one. It's very stressful, or we add more stress when we don't prioritize and get enough sleep. So you want to prioritize that sleep. Your sense of community and support. Are the people that you surround yourself with supportive of you? Are they your cheerleaders? Or are they always trying to one up you or talk about how their problems are more important than your problems, or just not supportive at all? Kind of rethink that. And maybe we need to make some community adjustments. Routines help build structure. So as you know from previous videos, I've got, a pretty set AM and nighttime routine that helps me a lot. That structure also helps with nervous system management and stress because you know what you're doing and it's just like clockwork. So there's that. And then for some of us, that might also include setting some boundaries at home and at work. And I'll talk about that in some future videos, but just kind of be thinking along those lines. Bottom line is you are not anybody's doormat. That's not what you're here for. So don't be afraid to set boundaries at work and at home. Self-care is very important. So for me, I consider my meal planning and eating healthy as part of my self-care, because when I'm doing that, that helps me do everything else that I need to do the way that I need to do it in a more optimal manner. So there's that. Again, boundaries, saying no, very, very important. Taking breaks at work, not working through them. Actually taking your lunch break, not working through your lunch. Taking your vacations or sometimes staycations and not working while you're doing those things. I don't even take my computer with me anymore. When I go on vacation, now I do things ahead of time, nice automation, AI stuff, so I don't have to work while I'm on vacation. It just automatically does it. Again, stress reduction is a form of your self-care, absolutely. And of course, prioritizing that sleep and movement practices. A lot of people will talk about, well, we need to reduce our calories. We need to reduce our calories. And that is a part of it, but when you look at things, when you are prioritizing anti-inflammatory nutrition, which is going to be whole foods, it's going to be your fruits, it's going to be your vegetables, it's going to be great sources of omega-3 fats, the healthy fats and healthy proteins, and drinking your water and instead of soft drinks, and you're reducing the sugar and maybe reducing some alcohol. You're already reducing your calories without having to write down every single calorie that you consume or think you're consuming. So when you're doing that, that's kind of automatic. And because you're eating whole foods, you're getting that wonderful, healthy fiber and those healthy fats that are helping you become full and stay full. So you're not going back, hopefully, for seconds, thirds, fourths, right? So you're kind of reducing your calories by changing the way that you're doing your nutrition and lifestyle without actually being conscious of keeping track of every calorie consumed, every calorie that you burn off in movement, those kinds of things. Okay. So there's some truth to that. I don't like to harp on that with my clients. We're stressed enough. The last thing we need to do is keep track of, all of these different things. There's a time and a place for that, but most people really don't need to do that. It's just a matter of making small, sustainable shifts over time, right? So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was helpful for you. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. Drop me a note at the bottom of this video. Feel free to share this with others, and I will see you again really soon.